Today we have a story of entitled control freak parents. We'll get into that in a bit, but first, feel like a canary in a cage. I learned to play flute since I was 8 years old. At the beginning, I practiced my flute at home pretty often. Then I need to focus on studying schoolworks, so I reduced my practice time. My mom popped out from nowhere saying, "Why don't you play your flute? I want to listen to music." She never said a single word while I was practicing before. She doesn't even know how to play any musical instruments. She gave up on the piano after 2 lessons. I feel like a canary in a cage, singing when my mom wanted to hear. I was forced to stop playing flute shortly after by my elementary school teacher. When I went to high school, we have 2 periods per week for performing arts. Everything is cool until my teacher sent me to level A. The teacher there has insane standards. Unfortunately, most of us are casual players. We're not music students and our parents don't want us to be a musician, so she separated us into 4 levels. The lower the level, the more scolding and insults you'll hear. People did send complaints about the discrimination. Instead of being punished, the teacher got a position in the school orchestra. Then I got sent back to level B, and the year after, got sent to level A again. This year, I don't see any old faces. They all left and I can't imagine what happened to them in the last year. We got a new teacher teaching level A. I met my friend from elementary school. We both have problems reading the notes. I was originally playing ocarina, so I read the numeral notes. Instead of separating us into 4 levels, this year we got the teacher and 2 students originally from the orchestra bullying my friend and me. They will speak out loud in the classroom, insulting us and shaming us. They never tried to help us. Every single classes feels like heck. The bullying continues for the entire year. No one tried to help us. I told my mom I don't want to play flute anymore. She said I have no choice. So I asked her if she can find me a tutor for the flute. She said I should focus on schoolwork. Flute is just casual and being a musician is automatically going to make you homeless. I tried to solve the issue. I was practicing my flute in the piano room in school. As I said, I don't want to be a canary in a cage, practicing at home. I feel like maybe playing the piano is cool. I never got a chance to learn the piano. As I played the piano, I realized reading the notes became easier and easier, so I became the best player in level A. It is insanely painful to learn musical instruments in a traditional Asian family. I never feel happy but pained. So, is it true that a lot of people who try to go headstrong into music and try to be a musician may end up struggling financially? Sure. There are success cases out there though. I guess more of the former than the latter. I think what it really comes down to is whether or not this is OP's actual passion. Unfortunately, at OP's age, they're probably not going to have much say until they're of adult age. I think it comes down to how soon and how well can they manage to support themselves, and are they willing to forego a relationship with their family because otherwise they'll just straight up reject them. I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy crazy stories of entitled parents, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is My Dad Doesn't Care Anymore. My 25-year-old male, dad, 61-year-old male, used to be more considerate of other people. He used to actually care how his actions affected others. I'm slightly autistic if that means anything. 4 years ago, we lost my mom to lung cancer, and it was horrible. My dad, who should have been there for me and my twin brother, but instead he started pounding the drink as much as he could without going broke. He was drunk as often as he could be. He would go on about how he hated his work and how she should be here with him. Every day I would come home from work and have to try to take care of him, to the point I was never even allowed to grieve my mom. A few months after she died, my dad told us he had used mom's entire inheritance, roughly $70,000. He spent it on getting some new teeth put in, lending some to my brother for a car, and the rest he spent on those scam bot hookup sites. I was so burnt out I couldn't even be angry. He started smoking again, which made me even more angry because that's what killed mom. After a while, I put him on Tinder, if only to stop him from spending more money on those scam sites. He met a woman there and started dating her, but they sort of went into this not quite dating but friends deal after he got so drunk he fell over and banged his head. He ended up in the hospital and had to stay off from work, but because he had used so much time off from being drunk, he wasn't getting paid, and it all fell on me to keep the house running. After that, he would constantly blame any forgetfulness or confusion on that fall, and it was only the fact that his girlfriend threatened to never speak to him again that he tried to clean himself up. One night, he nearly fell through the banister and I ended up screaming at him while he sobbed about how he missed mom. I moved out to my nan's for a few weeks hoping he'd finally stop drinking. It only semi-worked as he hasn't stopped drinking but no longer gets drunk. He's moved from cigarettes to vapes to try to cut them off. The house is still a mess. I try to do what I can, but every day when it's finally clean, I come home Monday to a table with stuff left on it. Usually plates he hasn't bothered to take out, and a kitchen full of unwashed pans and plates. He works night shift 3 days a week and spends the rest either out with his not-so-GF or sitting at home sleeping, letting the mess get him down. When it gets too bad, he stomps around getting angry, telling me I do nothing to help him out and that I should have cleaned up the mess. After a while, he calms down and apologizes. We have a dog, and he doesn't pick up his poo from the garden. He doesn't walk him, he just lets the dog run around the house and then complains about the dog needing to go out. The dog acts half-trained, jumping up at the table when we eat, grabbing clothes or other stuff and running around with it, only letting go when someone gives him a treat. My dad spends all his free time sitting at the computer, drinking and playing Call of Duty. He just leaves his empty cans and bottles by the computer and the bottle caps are just left anywhere. Half the time the dog grabs them and only then he'll bin the one he gets off the dog. There are mountains of unwashed clothes just filling my dad's room and he won't wash them unless urged to. Every time he gets down, he blames Mum, saying it's her fault for leaving us so soon. Every time he gets down, he goes on and on about how the only reason he's still here is because we are, and if we weren't, he would have ended things. How he will be happy when he goes because he'll be back with Mom. How he knows we don't like to hear it but listen to him. He tells us he knows he's with his not-so-girlfriend, but that's not the same. He owes me over 1,500 British pounds, but every time he pays me a little back, he has another reason he needs the money back. Every time I complain, he's got some excuse or just says, "Alright, well, I'll charge you for this." Every time I try to have a serious talk with him, he turns to talk to the dog or pulls funny faces or interrupts with something funny, and then when I get mad, he says, "Oh, I'm playing, stop getting so wound up." When he wants a serious talk, he gets angry if I don't give him 100% serious attention. He lets the dog eat stuff off of his plate. I have to actively warn him when the dog nearly eats something he shouldn't. Half the time he responds by pushing the plate slightly away and laughing at the dog continuing to try. The other half he says stuff like, "Oh, he's got a stomach of iron, he'll be fine," then starts playing with the dog's cheeks. He vanishes to his not-so-girlfriend's for 2 to 3 days every 2 weeks or so, buying her groceries and taking her out for food with money he doesn't have. Every single night when he's home, he puts his headset on, turns on Call of Duty on the PlayStation, then turns on his Bluetooth portable speaker and cranks the music so loud it can be heard from outside the house. I have no idea how the neighbors haven't complained, as they all have told me they can hear it. When I try to complain to him, he either responds with, "Then move, it's my house," or "It makes me happy, don't you want me to be happy?" My head constantly hurts. I'm always tired. I hate him for just not giving any thought to others. I love him, he's my dad. I just want him to stop. I'm so dang tired of putting in effort to help him when he acts like I'm being the problem. I can't stop as I don't want to lose him. Please someone tell me I'm not crazy. I just don't know what to do anymore. So I don't think OP's crazy, it's just really unfortunate. I'm almost wondering if OP stopped all of it and made it clear to them that they were going to stop all of it, how far down would OP's dad go? Would it get to the point of being so messy in that apartment or wherever you're living that it becomes like biological warfare in there? I mean, I really fail to believe that he is so incapable of taking care of himself if he's also capable of going to not-so-girlfriend's house for 2 to 3 days, buying them groceries and actually kind of doing things for somebody else. If he can do that, he can take care of his own darn dishes, and also he should not be in charge of taking care of that dog. Yokai Watch Fan 2102 commented, "Okay, OP, I can kind of get what's going on here. I don't think this has anything to do with entitlement. Your dad is textbook depressed. He needs therapy and you're not qualified to help him through it. If you want my opinion, I suggest you sit down with your dad and talk to him why he really does need therapy and help. You should also tell him that you're not qualified enough to help him. Clearly he's still grieving over the loss of his late wife, your mom. I suggest you show him the comments of this post and maybe that'll be enough to get him to realize that he needs therapy, or maybe try to get another family member, like your grandmother or uncle or aunt, to help convince him that he does need help." Our next story is, my parents went too far and took all my devices I legally bought, limited me where I can go, and now want to limit what time I can sleep to, all because I messed up. I might post this on r/vent, but I don't know yet. Just know that if I don't get back to y'all, then I'm 99% forced off of my electronics. I just turned 18 a few months ago. I'm a male. From 17 to 18, my parents must have expected some kind of magical transformation from me, but I'm still the same me. I sleep in a lot when I can and use my devices since they're my biggest hobby and listen to music like NF when I can. They expect me to do so much, but I just turned 18 and have nothing. So one day, on a Monday at 2:50ish a.m., before that I couldn't sleep since a noise outside my room woke me up and my guinea pig was alarmed by it till close to 2 a.m. I too was alarmed by it. It sounded like something fell and banged outside of my room, so I decided to walk around while listening to music so maybe I could try and get tired again. But at 4 o'clock, after close to 2 hours of music, I was about ready to get to bed. But since my bedroom is downstairs, and since there's a straight walkway to the upstairs door, I saw it open and there was my dad. He had work early in the morning, so he gets up really early to get ready so he can't be late. We just stared at each other till my dad said, "What the heck are you doing awake?" I tried stating the truth over and over, saying that I couldn't sleep and a noise woke me up and my loud mouth of a guinea pig kept me up, and still did till close to 5 a.m. that same day. He shook it off and said, "I bet you haven't slept at all." Well, I did, but I woke up at 2 a.m. due to something outside of my room falling over. I still don't know what it was till this day. I knew I was in trouble, but what would soon come was much farther than I thought it would go. I woke up the next day totally dreading whatever was gonna come and went upstairs to see my younger sister and mom at the table. Let's call my sister Jenny and my mom. Jenny said, "You're telling me he was up till 4:30 in the morning?" Mom said, "Yes, according to your father, he was up till 4 to 4:30. My mom and sister were talking and talked about my apparent mess up. Sure, I messed up. I should have listened to my music in my room. Yet again, my room is cramped since I recently got a new desk that takes up a lot more room than I thought. For this example, I'll call myself Raider. Mom said, "Raider, why the heck were you awake so late? The first thing I told you last night was to not stay up late. You do realize we're gonna have to punish you, right? And we're gonna take your devices." I remembered clearly not to stay up late. Yet again, I did mess up. I can't admit that. I shouldn't have been up listening to music. I was obviously in a bad mood. I had little sleep from before the noise woke me up and before my guinea pig would make his squeaks at the tops of his little lungs. I said, "Well, I own them. I legally bought them. They're mine and you can't take them as you wish." I shouldn't have said that, but I was right. Yet again, their house, their rules. And man, that caused some drama. I'm gonna fast forward a little since my parents limited my electronic use, as in the post, and I don't have much time. Since less than 5 days ago, I can't go anywhere. No stores, not for a drive, not even around my block. My devices are in a lockbox pretty much, and I need to earn them back. All my handhelds and even my iPod Touch I paid $35 on eBay for. I can't listen to music. NF means so much to me, so when I had that taken, I wasn't okay and became emotionally unstable beyond what I could handle. And this morning made it all the more infuriating. It put me over the edge. I asked to sleep in a little longer through a text, since I have my phone in my room, but at this point a flip phone would do more, not even kidding, and that set my mom off. Now she's trying to limit how long I sleep. She also threatened this morning to take my devices out to the storage unit, and my devices have lithium batteries. And I know the harsh colds aren't good for them, and my PS Vita isn't built for that weather. Our cold winters are brutal on electronics, even our cars. She says anything more than 10 hours is enough, and she might even wake me up earlier. So not 10 hours, probably really early. I have less freedoms than my 9-year-old brother. He can at least do what he wants without eyes over my shoulders, wake up when he wants, do what he wants. I barely found time to even type this. Thank God I type fast so I can get this out here. Now I go to bed at 9:30, same time as my littlest siblings, and my mom is gonna come into my room to make sure I'm sleeping and not awake. So much for privacy now, like that's gonna fix anything. My house might be starting to turn into a prison system if this continues. My mom has already gone into my room more than 3 times these past 2 days. So I'm beyond angry. It's not like I have a job, a car of my own, or really anyone close by to help me, so I'm kinda in a bind. I have nowhere or nothing, not even respect. Can someone tell me anything to get my stuff I paid for back, or even to get some of my normality back till this blows over? Please, anything. If I need to, I'll leave, or am I overreacting and need to calm down? I don't need them to search my room. Don't worry, I'm not hiding anything, but still, that's a massive invasion of my privacy, and I want the stuff I paid for back and get some of my life back to me. Anything helps. I'll update you guys if anything more happens. Seeing all the support so far has made me realize there are people who can help. I've just recently joined Reddit and never thought I'd be on a page like this, but thank you for all this. Update. Okay, so I talked to my parents at the dinner table. I asked them if I could go get a job application at the closest retail store. Guess what they said? No. They told me I need to work on myself before I think about a job or anything like that. So much for my independence, so it seems now I can't get a job because they see me as I need to work on myself. A job would work on myself. It teaches being on time, being a good person, and being respectful. Honestly, I can't take it. It's driving me to insanity. I can't do anything. They told me I'm not caught up in my school, which is partly true, but those are extra classes like typing and such. I didn't bring up my electronics to avoid more drama, but I can't. I just can't. Does it help that I also have Life 360 on my phone so they can track me like an animal? I can't even get a job if I want, and they went as far as to say that I can't even lend the car. Sure, it's in their name, but I can't go anywhere. Well, it's been this way for a week anyways, so my anger was more present then. Please, I need anything. I'm about ready to join the military for freedom again. Man, who would have thought I would consider the military, but I think I'd be a good sidelines man, like intercom or data management. I'm good with electronics. I'll update you guys again if there's any more, and please, someone, anyone, can I join the military and not have my parents try to keep me here with their "he still has school" nonsense? So I'm just going full personal feelings. I think there's a mix of things going on here. I think some of the things the parents are doing is not crazy or unreasonable. I don't really think when you're 17 or 18 years old, you should be really sleeping more than 10 hours. That's actually kind of bad. And I think if you're regularly sleeping more than 10 hours, you should probably get that checked out. The bedtime thing, not the biggest deal, but taking the devices, especially when OP themselves paid for them, is pretty crazy. And especially doing stuff like preventing them from listening to music is getting into sicko territory for me. Like, is listening to music tearing OP's character down? I definitely think they're being overly controlling though. If OP wants to go out and get a job, and they're afraid OP might even fail at that, they should let OP fail at that. Is that not going to be one of the best ways to build OP's character? Zanky commented, "Unfortunately, you're still a kid in a lot of ways. I agree, your parents are absolutely insane in their punishment. Just being up that late isn't a big deal, but I'm nocturnal as well. As long as you're doing what you need to do in your waking hours, that's okay. I get the frustration of being trapped as well. My mom did the same to me. Couldn't leave the house without her. Couldn't even take the bus to my job, so I could only work when she wasn't working. Luckily, I worked evening and nights. I preferred those hours because I'm nocturnal. It's my natural rhythm. OP, you have only a few more months until you're free. You just gotta make it to the end of school, kick butt in your exams, and then you'll be out from under them. Use college as your escape and kick butt there as well. You've got this. I know you can do it. Also, everyone else being mean to this kid and telling him to just get over it, the punishment was completely unwarranted. Not being able to sleep absolutely sucks, especially if you're woken up and your brain decides to go 100 miles per hour and not shut the heck up. Do you expect a kid still in education to work and pay rent as soon as they hit 18? Because it freaking sucks. I had to do that from 16 and no, I didn't get that money back. Mom actually bragged about making more money than ever. I had to pay for my food, rent, internet, hobbies, martial arts, and anything else I wanted or needed. It wasn't fair, especially since I had zero freedom. I didn't even do anything wrong beyond what OP is doing, staying up late. Plus, I was also screamed at, hit, and had my room trashed multiple times a week because mom needed to take crap out on someone. I hadn't done anything wrong. She also ruined a lot of school projects. No one can thrive cut off from the world or having parents that control them so much. I know I didn't. Parents should help their kids along, not treat them like small children at 18. Also, OP, if you're sleeping a lot, I'd get yourself looked at. If you're a girl, it could be period related. Iron tablets help a ton. I also take vitamin D year-round because I'm always deficient, even taking the tablets. It helps. It helps my mood as well. My boyfriend keeps reminding me to take my vitamins and stuff. OP then went on to post an update saying, "Now that I'm limited in my electronics, the use of the car, and now I can't get a job, seems I got a ton of school and depression ahead. I hate feeling useless, and this tops it. I feel like I lost everything. I may be dramatic, but I lost even my trust for my parents and lost my privacy. I might need to call someone. I'm tracked like a dog on Life 360, so I can't go anywhere. I can't go apply for a job. I can't get help. So that means I can't get a therapist, which means I can't also get a credit card or bank account of my own. That also means I can't deposit my saved money into a bank, so I can't use it for a backup plan since they could take that. It doesn't mean they will, but they could. It's like they're trying their hardest to keep me in this heck hole. I'm starting to resent this place even more. I hate to sound dramatic, but my house, even before this post and my issue with staying up, wasn't the greatest. The stress was unbearable, my family had another baby, we got 3 dogs in 1 year. One of the dogs wants to start dog fights, so we always have to separate them. My dad almost could have died of AFib, a heart problem, and I had my emotional reality check and I wanted a wife. So yeah, till then, I'll update y'all again soon. Needless to say, OP's having a lot of issues that they're needing to work through. You just kind of hope that it's one of those situations that, with time, it kind of solves it on itself as OP just continues to push towards being their own person. Whether that is through something like college, like the one commenter said, or, if OP really wants to, the military. Our next story is, am I the jerk for insisting that my wife sees a therapist before she's alone with the kids? My 30-year-old male, wife, 26-year-old female, gave birth to twins in October, 1 boy and 1 girl. Our son had lung issues at birth, which is relevant to this. Basically, 2 weeks ago, my son had his first breath-holding spell. For those who are fortunate enough to not know what they are when a baby holds their breath out of fear or pain or shock. They can hold their breath until they turn blue or pass out, but it's relatively normal. As it turns out, my wife didn't know what a breath-holding spell was, which makes sense. Our kids are the first baby she's ever had to look after before. She has no younger siblings and is the youngest on both sides of her family. When the breath-holding spell occurred, my wife was distraught. She didn't know what to do and started having a panic attack herself. She managed to get a hold of her father. I was working and he came over and watched the kids while she got herself together. They then went to the ER and I met them there. My father-in-law knew what was going on, but my wife insisted on going to the ER because of our son's lung issue. Thankfully, the little rascal is fine. However, my wife is not. Her anxiety has gotten a million times worse, and since that incident, she hasn't been alone with the kids. While I'm working, she usually spends the day with her parents and then I pick her up after work. Her parents are fine with this because they adore her and the kids, but I'm concerned that she's no longer trusting herself as a mother. She's told me that she wants to start being by herself during the day again with the kids, but I think she should have at least 1 therapy appointment beforehand. Her insomnia has gotten extremely bad since that incident, and she can't be away from the kids without having another panic attack. I'm worried about how she'll manage alone, but she thinks I'm the jerk for suggesting that she can't care for her own kids. Am I the jerk? Edit, some people are unable to read, unfortunately. I never said that there was anything wrong with her reaction. What I'm saying is that I think she's traumatized by what happened and needs to see someone. I mean, I'm just gonna say I would imagine most people on this Reddit post or those that are hearing this story would not know OP's wife better than OP. So I would trust if OP knows or expects that this isn't just a potential one-off thing, a reaction to a one-time stimulus that she didn't know how to understand or cope with, and instead is something that's maybe more akin to being a part of her, where if God forbid something else happens again, she may have a similar reaction where she goes shutdown mode. I think if OP's observed or genuinely believes that, I don't think it's a crazy thing to say, let's try to be proactive about this. I'd like to know if you guys disagree or not. Only Texts commented, info, apart from the very understandable panic attack from seeing her kid not breathing, has she had any other incidents? Insomnia is a bit normal for new parents because they truly don't know what they're doing. Have you done something to help her with that? OP responded saying she's always been an insomniac, but it actually got better after she had the kids. We had a pretty good schedule worked out to make sure she got her sleep, but since what happened with our son, she cannot sleep at all. I'd say that she probably can only sleep for an hour or two at a time before waking up and it wearing down on her. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy entitled parent story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.